Conceived notions about life, fate, and their own potential are all called into question by your honesty to those who encounter you. Your sheer presence causes others to wonder about the boundaries of human comprehension and capacity. They are forced to face their innermost fears and beliefs when they see something old and strong. For a lot of people, experiencing your energy is more than just a brief instant. It causes a change in how they see the world. They aren't ready for the existential awakening that comes with realizing what you stand for. Those who try to hurt you will suffer immediate, irrefutable repercussions. Anyone who tries to hurt you will suffer the consequences of their actions, because the universe has put a protective shield around you. Think about the people who previously attempted to undermine or betray you. Now, where are they? If you look carefully, you'll discover that bad luck has plagued their lives. A blatant illustration of the cosmic law at work. These are not coincidences, but rather the results of their own decisions. The universe makes sure that those who want to hurt you pay the full price of their actions via precisely timed events. If you sense God's presence, you may join the first selected ones and get the most significant revelations first by clicking the Join button below. The consequences of these betrayals send a strong message to everyone who would think about crossing you. There are powers beyond human comprehension protecting your route. When someone tries to attack you, they risk not only instant vengeance, but also the collapse of their own existence. Every effort to harm you gives them the opportunity to suffer the repercussions of their own evil. They are not the only ones impacted by these karma ripples. They also influence others they are related to, which causes a domino effect to spread across their networks. The adversaries who formerly aimed to bring you down now see your ongoing ascent. They anticipated your demise, but you have become more resilient instead. With every assault, you become stronger, wiser, and closer to your divine mission as you turn destruction into rejuvenation. Your development is sparked by what was supposed to be your downfall. The exact things that are trying to harm you are really strengthening your goal and giving you more meaning. Your tenacity demonstrates that nothing can halt your heavenly rise, no matter how hard they try. The malicious energy that is aimed at you returns with greater power to its source. Those that set out to destroy you are now dealing with the fallout from their deeds, and every effort at damage comes back to haunt them in some manner. Despite their financial downfall, they prepared for your financial demise. They intended to damage your reputation, but instead, their own wrongdoings have come to light. The sole outcome of their efforts to distance themselves from you is their own desertion. Unquestionably, this loop of negative energy returning to its source is evidence of the cosmic law at work. The difficulties you encountered were intended to mold you into something better, not to kill you. Every obstacle you faced has strengthened and empowered you. Much like a phoenix emerging from the ashes, you have only become a force of nature as a result of the same things that were meant to break you. You have become unstoppable by using the turmoil in your life as fuel for your own growth. You reinvent what is possible by rising to the occasion when others falter under pressure. Your name has now been heard in the murmurs coming from underground, even by those who remain hidden and believe they control the world from behind the curtain. Even those in hiding have started to feel uncomfortable in their hiding spots. Because of the deep, penetrating force that your frequency brings, they were able to remain hidden for years until you showed up. They're listening in now. Since your presence is upsetting their system, leave 888 in the comments right now. Those who were hiding are no longer able to conceal. Their refuge has been reached by your march. This is the Chosen One's call. They didn't realize that you carry a power that is unlike anything they have ever experienced. A force that not only demands respect, but also forces it from the very core of people's beings. People who are close to you have discovered, sometimes the hard way, that opposing you has far-reaching effects that they could never have predicted, whether out of fear or adoration. When your name is spoken behind closed doors, it evokes terror in others because it is a sign of impenetrable authority, rather than merely a reputation. Even those closest to you are baffled by your aura, which makes others ask, who is this person who seems to transcend the ordinary? You stir something deep inside individuals who come into touch with your energy by defying all traditional notions of what it is to be human. You question people's basic assumptions about their reality, their potential, and their ability to achieve greatness. The encounter is life-changing for those who go too near, and sometimes it's too much for them to handle. All of their preconceived notions about the world and their role in it are called into question. There is an unseen force at work that maintains the equilibrium in your favor. It is not only the individuals you see who are afraid of your energy. The cosmos responds quickly to every assault on you, initiating a sequence of events that shield you in ways that are incomprehensible to others. Remember the people who attempted to undermine you. Now, how are they doing? They have also joined a cosmic drama and are now dealing with their own repercussions while your own quest gains momentum. This cycle of vengeance is not arbitrary. Rather, it is a component of the divine order that was established for your safety and development. What they meant to hurt you has turned into a means of gaining strength and a deeper sense of purpose. Your foe's whole universe suffers when you cross paths with them, not just your immediate adversaries. Their bad intentions against you have an impact on their friends, family, co-workers, and connections. The universe makes sure that everyone who is in danger
The mood choose to rise and connect to the successfully. The mood choose to rise is ready to help. to rise, 8 connect to the successfully. Get the mood shoes to rise, 8 connect to the get the mood shoes to rise, 8 connect to the successfully. Get mood shoes to rise is needed to help. Get the mood shoes to rise, 8 connect to the successfully.
In the end,
Get mood shoes to rise is needed to help.
Before she was stepped down in shocking fourth freedom shakeup, Ding Xuexiang named General Secretary. U.S. General Zhang Yousheng carries a vow. The CCP has reached its final stage. China's economic data disappears. Expert, the CCP has reached a dead end. Global anti-communist groups force CCP to kneel. Petition sparks online frenzy.
Mood shoes to rise.
Step on board for today's show. Dive into Decoding China, where you'll find all the essential information you need.
Get mood shoes.
Party elders reportedly forced Xi to step down in shocking fourth plenum shakeup. Ding Xuexiang named General Secretary. In a stunning revelation, independent commentator Tsai Shen-kun has disclosed explosive insider information about a seismic shift brewing within China's Communist Party. Sources tell Tsai that the upcoming fourth plenum will witness a dramatic showdown, as veteran party elders, fed up with the current international and economic challenges, unite to force CCP leader Xi Jinping from power. A new lineup for General Secretary and Premier has already surfaced. Elders demand Xi's exit, sweeping personnel changes on horizon. Tsai revealed that this unprecedented move isn't spearheaded by a single figure like Xing Qinghong but involves heavyweights such as Wang Qishan and Wen Jiabao. Former leader Hu Jintao, sidelined by poor health and unable to speak effectively, will play no major role in this high-stakes confrontation. Insider leaks outline a bold new leadership structure. First Vice Premier Ding Xuexiang is slated to become General Secretary. Shanghai Party Secretary Chen Jining is poised to take over as Premier. Current Premier Li Chang will replace NPC Chairman Zhao Leji, and Vice Premier Zhang Wuqing will step into Ding's former role as Executive Vice Premier. Tsai explained that Ding Xuexiang's rapid rise began after just...
So you think you know Wix? Do you really? First up, we've got Shake Video Man.
6 months working with Xi, when he was tapped as director of the General Office and elevated to the Politburo. His key task in Shanghai was to manage Xi's delicate relationship with the Jiang faction. Without Ding's efforts, Xi's grip on power could have faltered early in his first term. Tsai said, later, Ding was placed at Xi's side, effectively acting as a monitor. Over time, he earned Xi's deep trust. The commentator noted that prior to the 20th Party Congress, the plan was for Ding to assume Tsai Chi's role, overseeing party affairs, personnel, and ideology, positioning him as a potential successor. But Xi, reportedly displeased, reassigned Ding to the State Council after tensions arose. Ding and Public Security Minister Wang Xiaohong had secretly clashed, each undermining the other, resulting in Ding missing a top leadership rank and one being excluded from the Politburo. Independent analyst Du Zhang, writing for Up Media, described Ding's appointment as executive vice premier as a case of being forced into an ill-fitting role. Having served as Xi's longtime aide without regional governance or economic experience, Ding is relatively young and likely banking on Xi naming him successor, much like Mao Zedong designated Hua Guofeng. As for Chen Jining, Tsai said his factional ties remain ambiguous. A Tsinghua graduate who studied in the UK, Chen was recruited back to China by then Tsinghua Party Secretary Chen Xi, who became his mentor. Xi faces deadline, full power surrender by 21st Party Congress. With months to go before the fourth plenum, Tsai cautioned that while details may shift, the overall trajectory is set. He said, the elders have resolved that Xi must exit the political stage, relinquishing all power by the 21st Party Congress at the latest. His influence over the military has already been drastically reduced, a sharp departure from earlier expectations. Xi's military clout fades, power handover likely. Tsai underscored the urgency felt by those tracking China's political future. allowing Xi to maintain unchecked control risks catastrophic consequences for the nation. Tsai said, "The elders are taking a bold gamble with this collective stand. If Xi's military influence continues to wane, he'll have little choice but to yield power quietly. Defiance could spell disaster for him. New era of collective leadership awaits." What happens to Xi after this power struggle? Tsai predicts a compromise to avoid a destructive internal clash. He said, the party will likely offer Xi, his family, and loyalists a dignified exit from politics. Once new leaders take charge, Tsai foresees a fundamental shift. They'll embrace collective decision-making, a stark contrast to Xi's one-man rule, transforming how China is governed. U.S. General Zhang Youxia carries a bow. The CCP has reached its final stage. Amid significant shifts in Chinese politics, retired U.S. Air Force General Blaine Holt, former deputy military representative to NATO, stated in a bombshell Newsmax article titled "Beware the Cornered Dragon," especially if it's read, that the Chinese Communist Party is nearing its end, with Xi Jinping likely to be its final leader. Holt revealed that she has long used anti-corruption campaigns to purge senior government and military officials. But in a stunning twist, the latest purge, targeting over 1,300 CCP officers and more than 80 generals, has turned on Xi's own loyalists, using the same anti-corruption pretext. Holt pointed to Zhang Youxia, vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, as the mastermind orchestrating this push against Xi's allies, emerging as a powerful counterforce. He noted that many China experts believe an ancient prophecy fuels these purges. Despite their atheist stance, CCP leaders, including Xi, are deeply superstitious. The Tang Dynasty's Tuebei II prophecy book seems to predict a coup and assassination during Xi's rule, with a warrior wielding a golden sword sneaking into the palace. The text reads, "A military man carries a bow, claiming to be the white-haired old man. A golden sword lies in the eastern gate, and a brave warrior enters the imperial palace through the back door." Some analysts suggest this figure, whose name includes the character for Bao, refers to Zhang Youxia. Holt said Xi and the CCP appear obsessed with these ominous prophecies, though they don't reveal who will ultimately topple the regime. China's economy in freefall. Holt painted a grim picture of China's economy, skyrocketing urban unemployment, mass business closures, and an exodus of wealthy individuals and foreign companies. Dissent is surging, with videos showing unpaid workers torching factories in fury. Since President Trump's second term began, over 10,000 factories have shut down, turning parts of Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou into ghost towns. Holt blamed Xi's brutal COVID lockdowns, policy reversals, endless money printing, collapsing real estate, failing banks, and oppressive surveillance state for dragging China back to its 1979 economic state. He stressed that this downward spiral began long before Trump's 2025 return, as China never recovered from the pandemic and the CCP's catastrophic decisions. CCP points finger at US to hide failures. With China's economy sliding from recession to depression, Holt warned that the CCP may exploit Trump's global trade rebalancing to mask its own terminal decline. He raised concerns about the CCP launching military actions to shift blame while painting the US as the true culprit. Trump's sweeping tariffs, hitting at a moment of Xi's economic and authoritarian struggles, are a calculated strike. Holt said the US sees a chance to cripple the CCP with short-term disruptions. Holt wrote, "President Trump knows the ultimate weapon against the CCP isn't nukes, lasers, or bombers. Cutting China off from the world's largest consumer market will hit harder than the 8th Air Force's bombing of Dresden in World War II. Experts estimate these tariffs could slash China's GDP by 3%. Urgent call for Trump to hold firm." Holt exposed the CCP's tactics of infiltrating, extorting, bribing, or disappearing foreign officials and businesspeople, while secretly steering Western media away from topics like organ harvesting. He said, "The CCP arrogantly assumes its U.S. debt holdings, growing military power, and global Belt and Road projects will force America to back down, silencing complaints about intellectual property theft, fentanyl smuggling, and subversion of free nations." He urged Trump to stay resolute, warning that any compromise could give the CCP breathing room to regroup. Holt noted that Beijing has already made quiet concessions to Trump, scaling back tariff countermeasures to preserve face, a critical priority for totalitarian regimes. Yet, he cautioned the Trump administration not to underestimate this evil cornered dragon as internal CCP and military infighting intensifies. China's economic data disappears. Expert, the CCP has reached a dead end. A Wall Street Journal analysis reveals that the Chinese Communist Party has quietly stopped releasing hundreds of economic indicators once relied upon by researchers and investors. China expert Gordon Chang declares the regime has run out of options. In detail, in its May 4th report, the journal notes that in recent years, China has ceased publishing land sales figures, foreign investment data, and unemployment rates. It has also suspended cremation statistics, a key business confidence index, and even the official report on soy sauce production. In most cases, no official reason was given. However, the disappearance of data comes as China faces mounting economic headwinds, skyrocketing debt, a collapsing real estate sector, soaring joblessness, and weak consumption. These conditions have prompted the CCP to tighten control over economic messaging. Several key data points have vanished. In 2022, land transfer revenue dropped 48%, creating a fiscal crisis for local governments. The data was pulled in early 2023. After abruptly ending its zero-COVID policy in late 2022, authorities stopped releasing cremation data. In August 2023, the government suspended youth unemployment figures, citing a need to re-evaluate the methodology. In April 2024, amid economic slowdown, plunging markets, and foreign capital flight, the Shanghai and Shenzhen stock exchanges stopped reporting real-time overseas capital flow data. Soy sauce production data, last published in May 2021, remains unreleased, and soybean output figures have also disappeared. On May 5th, Gordon Chang told Fox Business, "The Chinese regime doesn't want us to know what's going on, and they will continue restricting information." He added that the practice has persisted for years, as technocrats know foreign analysts use bottom-level data to expose discrepancies in official headlines. He pointed to GDP figures as a key example. The CCP claimed 5.4% growth in Q1, but all signs suggest that's false. Even President Trump said the Chinese economy is shrinking. Look at consumer price data from February and March, or PMI data. April's figures clearly show a decline in factory activity. Also on Monday, Chang posted on X, "China's regime is now disappearing data. Want to know about, say, soy sauce production? Good luck with that." The CCP is desperate. He warned that the economic contraction in Q1 is undeniable, and the downturn is accelerating. While the regime could act, it refuses to do so for ideological and political reasons. As a result, he said, economic collapse will likely persist and emergency measures will fail. The expert concluded that CCP politics is suffocating China's future. In a related critique, international arbitrator and French appellate attorney Tao Jingzhou, a 1977 law graduate of Peking University and former classmate of late Premier Li Keqiang, wrote in the Financial Times last November that many observers believe recent CCP GDP figures are inflated. He noted that local officials often treat hitting GDP targets as vital to job security and promotion, adding that for decades, China's official statistics, especially GDP, have been tightly controlled and politically vetted. Global anti-communist groups force CCP to kneel. Petition sparks online frenzy. In recent days, overseas anti-CCP groups, including the China Democracy and Human Rights Alliance, have jointly launched a campaign calling on the Chinese Communist Party to kneel. A large-scale rally titled "Demand the CCP Kneel" was held in New York, and an open letter titled "Emergency Order from Global Anti-Communist Groups, Make the CCP Kneel" has drawn widespread attention on international social media. The campaign emerged amid rising tensions in the US-China trade war. President Donald Trump recently stated that tariff negotiations were underway and claimed Xi Jinping personally called to initiate talks. However, the CCP has denied holding any negotiations and instead released a defiant video titled "China Will Not Kneel." The video triggered widespread ridicule. On May 2nd, Yan Maosen, a board member of the China Democracy and Human Rights Alliance, posted the full emergency order on X, where it is now circulating for joint endorsement. The full statement reads, The bright April sun cannot dispel the CCP's brutal darkness. Humanity's compassion cannot soften the CCP's cruel and ignorant heart. Under the weight of U.S. tariffs, the CCP's true face has been exposed. The blood-stained empire of sweatshops built on cheap labor has ground to a halt. Industries are collapsing. The economy is in deep stagnation. Whenever the regime faces crisis, it revives the same tactics, manipulating nationalist sentiment and pumping the masses with patriotic fervor. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs' recent China will not kneel video only exposed the regime's shamelessness. Its false bravado couldn't hide its desperation. The so-called wolf warriors now resemble desperate dogs. The fall is natural and inevitable. In reality, the CCP has long been kneeling in secret. If not, why has it surrendered vast tracts of borderland to neighboring countries? If not, why has it funneled wealth extracted through oppression into reckless foreign handouts? If not, why does it send countless swallows and fangs to trade their bodies for stolen intelligence? If not, why do its elites hide their wealth and children overseas as political insurance? This is secret submission disguised as defiance, a lie to deceive the public and manipulate nationalists. Do dictators ever kneel? Hitler didn't kneel. Mussolini didn't kneel. Tojo didn't kneel. Ceausescu didn't kneel. Saddam didn't kneel. Gaddafi didn't kneel. The Bangladeshi junta and its accomplices didn't kneel. History shows that tyrants never kneel until they no longer have the chance. If they could choose again, most would kneel without hesitation. Why does the CCP still shout, "We will not kneel" on the brink of collapse? As the regime teeters, the Chinese Communist Party continues to stir nationalist fervor, invoking Mao Zedong's line that all imperialists are paper tigers. It has escalated this propaganda into extreme anti-American campaigns reminiscent of Nazi rhetoric, an attempt to divert attention from the internal crises now erupting on all fronts. The CCP's false confidence rests on more than 1 billion citizens, people who have spent their lives kneeling under authoritarian control, never knowing what it means to stand. But this is not strength. If one day these oppressed masses rise, they will overthrow the regime. When that moment comes, the CCP won't even have time to beg on its knees. As survivors of tyranny and advocates of constitutional democracy, we now speak in the name of the people. The Chinese Communist Party must kneel now. This is not negotiable. There will be no bargaining. The CCP must kneel before all those who have suffered death, injury, dispossession, and trauma since communism infiltrated China. This includes, but is not limited to, the following. Those who perished during the CCP's Soviet-backed puppet regime in Hunan, Hubei, and Jiangxi. Citizens assassinated by CCP underground agents during the Civil War. Gu Shenzheng and his innocent relatives, executed by direct orders from Zhou Enlai and Qin Gong. Soldiers of the Republic of China, killed by CCP forces during its early bandit years and the 3-year Civil War. Young women from landowning families who were raped and defiled. Landowners and wealthy peasants whose property and land were violently seized during land reform. Elites slaughtered during the Suppress Bandits and Eliminate Tyrants campaigns. Capitalists forced to commit suicide during the public-private partnership era. The 43 million peasants who starved to death during the Great Famine. Thousands of intellectuals who died in the Jayabayingu labor camp. The 4 remaining labeled rightists still carrying political stigma. Educated youth who died after being sent to the countryside. Female students sexually abused by rural CCP officials during the Sent Down Youth campaign. Victims of unnatural deaths during the Cultural Revolution. Descendants of those whose tombs and remains were desecrated during that period. Intellectuals who were tortured and publicly humiliated for a decade. 400 million unborn children killed through forced abortion under the one-child policy. 50 million men left permanently single due to the regime's gender-skewed population control. Victims of the 1976 Tangshan earthquake. All those wrongfully executed in the 1983 Strike Hard campaign. Students and civilians massacred during the June 4th, 1989 Tiananmen Square protests. Victims of environmental disasters caused by the CCP's relentless economy. Children who died in the Karame fire, where officials were allowed to escape first. Tang Li and her daughter, victims of forced labor in Hunan. All fallen Gong practitioners tortured, imprisoned, and subjected to forced labor. Victims of live organ harvesting. Victims of the 2008 Wenchuan earthquake. Rural and urban residents whose homes and land were forcibly seized or demolished. Those driven to self-immolation out of despair. Millions of petitioners and rights defenders persecuted by local CCP enforcers. All human rights lawyers targeted by the state. Victims of black jails and extra-legal detention under stability maintenance campaigns.
没事，慢慢来。从生态打中间，不要去。我已经想点了，兄弟们。
还没打完，钱还没花完就点。
没事，我们有钱的，我们有钱的，不怕，有钱的能起。广场。那我花完最后的一分钱。在家里有多，家里有多。啊，还有吗？家里发点这个，又是这一招，这个枪啊，还有没有枪完了现在？ 之前聘哥被家里那个位置的洞偷了2波雷达，后面你得看有没有其他人
millions around the world who died after being infected by the COVID-19. Victims of humanitarian disasters caused by the CCP's 3-year zero-COVID lockdowns. Victims of transnational repression, including those targeted by overseas police stations. Deng Xingjia, a watermelon vendor beaten to death by city enforcement officers. Su Chuanha, a petitioner shot dead by police at a train station. Qian Yunhui, a village chief crushed to death by a construction truck under military watch. The Chinese Communist Party must kneel before the countless numbers of heroes who resisted CCP tyranny and sacrificed their lives, freedom, and dignity. At this pivotal moment in history, the CCP did not hide behind hollow slogans like "We will not kneel." It must genuinely kneel before the Chinese people. We hereby renew our demand. Kneel before universal values. Kneel before modern civilization. Kneel before constitutional democracy. Kneel before the rule of law and human rights. Only by kneeling now can the CCP hope for forgiveness and the possibility of social reconciliation. If it continues to distort truth, suppress reason, and invert right and wrong, then when Judgment Day comes, we may not even have the chance to kneel. The CCP has no option. The CCP has no future except for lives. Issued May 1st, 2021. Signed by global anti-communist groups and individuals. Yan Mao-sen, author of the declaration, told the Epoch Times that the CCP's recent "We will not kneel" slogan is aimed at the world, but at its domestic nationalism. Yan said, "They say it precisely because they're getting ready to fall." It's a preemptive message to prepare the little troops for the regime's coming retreat. Yan revealed that just before the May Day holiday, the CCP quietly lifted over $40 billion in U.S. tariffs, about 25% of the trade, signaling its transformation to He added that the CCP came to power through propaganda and still survives by deceiving the public and manipulating nationalists. Its refusal to kneel is pure theater, made possible only because a billion Chinese remain forced to kneel under the current state violence. On May 4th, a coalition of anti-CCP organizations, including the China Democracy and Human Rights Alliance, Chinese Citizens Action Party, Chinese Republican Party, and the U.S. branch of the Federation held to make the CCP kneel rally in Flushing, New York. Video footage shows participants chanting, "China cannot prosper until the CCP collapses. Freedom belongs to the people. Xi Jinping, step down. Build a new China. Down with the Chinese Communist Party. Disband the CCP." We value your input. Feel free to drop a comment below and share your views on today's subject. If you found this video helpful, why not share it with a friend? Your support encourages us to keep providing insightful content. Be sure to like and subscribe for...
President Xi Jinping has launched another sweeping purge of top military officials. General He Weidong, the PLA's #2 general, has been removed from his post in recent weeks.
They want to be able to project power, but there are so many gaps as far as military capability. Taiwan Strait is not yours. South China Sea is not yours. There's no way the Chinese People's Liberation Army will ever reach the point of the capability of coalition.
What happens when the second most powerful figure in China's military is unexpectedly removed from power and then disappears? Well, it confirms what everyone has been whispering silently. China's military is facing a massive collapse. In a shocking move, Chinese President Xi Jinping fired General He Weidong, the second highest ranking officer in the People's Liberation Army and vice chair of the Central Military Commission. It's the first time in over 60 years that someone of this rank has been removed like this. This shocking removal isn't just an isolated event. It's part of a larger pattern where Xi is eliminating top generals by framing them in his anti-corruption campaign. Crazy, right? All of this, however, is hurting China's military, leading to its rapid and public decline. From embarrassing and faulty weapons to missiles filled with water instead of fuel, we'll be taking a closer look at the events that are leading to the collapse of the Chinese military. Let's start by talking about these leadership purges that are right at the heart of the military's collapse. Purges in general have been